Actually, that's an interesting story, though, talking about the statistics that we've been accumulating.
Did you just scone your elbow on the wall?
It's okay, Sharon.
Jamie's laughing to himself.
Yeah.
Tell me it's
We're talking about like douche crumpets, and she's like, speaking of that, I have a great story. And I'm like,
and then Jamie nails the wall with his arm.
Yeah.
That'll show.
yeah.
And?
Well, it's just we've been gathering all these statistics.
Yes.
And,
Yes. Yeah.
and I bet we've gleaned some really interesting information.
There's been
I was
some
really impressed with that. There's one guy who uses the camouflage item
Oh,
almost every game.
Right.
It has a really nice win rate.
there's another.
It's handy. It's surprisingly effective, that item, because you can really just hide out and then they never see you.
Yeah, just to make sure
Even
that,
if they know you have it, they still
that
don't
people
see it.
know what the item is.
Oh, I didn't.
Didn't I already say
It sounds.
It's what you use to create the sticky wall item.
Yes.
Sticky wall item.
Well, when you hold down the button to use it, you turn into a survivor ball, basically, and you just stick to the wall. So, so you wait.
And the other guy can actually pick you up.
Yeah, he will pick you up and carry you all the way back to his base. And then
you can transform back.
Transform.
You can't shoot while you're in camouflage.
No, of course not.
So,
Be a bit suspicious.
Well, you could for a while though. I remember when we were still like balancing that item, and you could shoot.
There was a version where you would just your sprite just became a survivor, so you were still flying around.
Yeah, there was a version.
Like
I remember
flying
playing a
survivor
version
shooting
where,
stuff.
where trying to trick the other guy before there was any of the gravity or anything. You would hold down the button to turn into a survivor, and then slowly fly down to make it look like you're falling.
Right. You're trying to emulate gravity.
Yeah,
with
trying
your
to pretend
flying.
I'm a real survivor.
Yeah, but there's another guy at the top. I think it's Moon581 or Moon something, and he's hot on the snatching.
Is he a Japanese player?
I can't remember.
I've played against him, I think.
He just uses the snatch and grab, and he steals.
Oh yeah.
And we checked his stats, and he managed to make 27 steals in 25 games.
Wow.
So 2 times he must have stolen someone else's stealing item. And then gone and stolen something else again. So some guys logged into a game, he's like, I'm going to have a fun game, and he got 2 out of 3 of his items just got stolen by the other guys, and he'd be like,
That's kind of like game theory, isn't it?
Well,
in theory, the snatch and grab item should be like the strongest item.
I think some players,
it's tricky to
depending
use.
on what item you
some
steal.
players don't have the skill to get close enough safely.
And if you see the other guy has it, you're not going to go anywhere near
away
him.
from it. And I think there's also a large advantage if you're on defense first and you have snatch and grab, because you're less risk buy-in to go in close to try and use it.
Right.
But if you're on offense on your first turn, you're not going to want to go close enough to use it. But there's a large chance the other guy will have used a lot of his items up by the time the turn is done, and by the time it is your turn for defense, he might not have anything worth stealing.
Right.
So there is a bit of luck on if you're first or not. But that guy's clearly not had any trouble. He's right up.
I think I came up against him once, and he came rushing in, and he uses the dash, I think, as well.
He's right up top.
So he he uses this extra speed up thing. So he dashes across and then grabs your thing and then goes away.
Catch you by surprise.
Yeah.
You're
just like, what the hell?
There's a lot of
what the hell happened?
Drive by.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff that we thought would be stronger than it is, and like we thought the control reverse would be really powerful, but people have gotten used to it really quickly.
Oh really? I still hate it.
Oh,
like when it happened to you.
During the
Initially,
show
it's quite
too.
powerful for initial item.
I think
it's quite cheap. Remember?
I think it's good that it's one of the first items you buy because it gives people the most time to get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was one of the final items, people would spring it on you and you wouldn't be used to it yet. But because it's an initial item, people have gotten over it after Saturn.
Yeah, and you can just get used to it. What I do is I just kind of go somewhere safe very quickly.
Right.
Well, if you have it, you can just hit it as well.
And that's true.
And cancel out theirs, depending on how good the play is.
It was funny though, because at the Shooter 2 tournament at GDC that we did, now there was an open bar that night. Anyone could participate. So I'm sure that there were some sloshed people playing the game.
Yeah.
That was the most popular item that people were using.
The reverse.
Because
well, it's easy to understand. Right?
Yeah, and we had all items unlocked. So
early to mid game, it is good, but we've noticed when you filter out particular Sun and Mercury League players, don't take it as often, and as its win-assist ratio, it's not as effective as things like Resurrection or in particular the Magma Guard.
That's quite surprising, actually.
The Magma Guard is the top win-assist ratio item. It is the most...
If you use it well, you can really use it well, I think that's the thing.
And when we looked at, filtering out sort of Asteroid and then looking up high, it just got, its percentage just climbs.
Right.
And Magma Guard is the single most used. I think it beat out Resurrection by 0.5%.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's magma on every level, right?
Almost. There's not magma on every level.
There's magma balls, though, aren't there?
There's magma balls on some of them, but I think the magma ball item itself is fairly popular. And to have a magma guard, you've just effectively cancelled out the other guy's one whole slot of his items, and you've got environmental safety.
If you switch it on quick enough, right?
Yeah. But that's interesting. No, I was really surprised that the magma guard was so
surprising.
Because I don't think I've ever bothered trying to use it.
It's actually pretty. It's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's actually fairly useful.
I never used it.
When you see someone, you're chasing somebody, and they put it on and go through the lava.
Yeah.
That's when you realise how useful it is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, especially if they're carrying a survivor.
Where he just goes and hides in the lava.
Yeah.
And you kind of stare at each other.
Yeah.
You're like, oh well.
Can't do anything there.
And then he hits position change and swaps you into the lava.
That's
you bastard.
Yeah. Magma guard and position.
Magma guard and position
There's
change.
the inner stage with the waterfall.
Oh, in the
Magma
middle,
shield, Magma guard and fluid change. The people who are good at hiding really.
Yeah,
I mean, that's.
You need to know to run.
If you get that full 2 minutes to capture survivors.
Yeah.
It's not deathmatch. I think a lot of people,
just
make
go for a kill.
They think,
The
it's
point is to
1v1
wait a
deathmatch.
bit, isn't it?
You say, no, this isn't deathmatch. It's a different.
Yeah, you've got to throw the other player.
Just run away.
Just run.
Yeah,
you don't need to fight him.
Exactly. Just hide somewhere. And they have a hell of a time finding you, unless you use radar or footprint.
Or any of the other many items which are good for sifting out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just take, I'll just take all the weapons, and then the other guy runs away and hides, and you never see him.
No, it's a good fun. You can just hide behind any little nook and cranny and they can't see you.
Or you take that reflect shot thing, so
I love that.
Spamming that into narrow corridors and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I just try and guess where they are. That's just so much fun, the reflect shot.
It is when it bounces back on.
Yeah, God, it's
just
so dangerous though.
Just be very careful with it. Yeah.
I can't use it. I always end up killing myself.
It's just so much fun when you shoot in a little narrow passage and it goes and just goes all the way along the passage and then whacks the shit out. It's great.
No, it is. It's satisfying.
Damien's mind is just in the gutter.
Yeah, what are you thinking about this? What are you thinking about this?
Just laughing.
As someone who's never played Online Battle.
I think that everything is hilariously named.
Okay.
And that everything is funny.
So what we've just said, do you feel like playing the game now?
So the thing is that in general, when I think of online games, I think of like basically, and mind you, I don't even have an Xbox anymore, but I mean the stereotypical online Xbox Live Halo experience with like 12-year-olds like beating the crap out of me and then telling me what they did to my mom last night.
And then teabagging.
And then teabagging me. Right, yeah. So I mean...
Not a pleasant experience.
I've actually been teabagged once in Halo.
Oh, in Halo?
Yeah, in Halo.
In real life then.
No. Only once. I'm surprised by that, actually.
Right. So yeah, I mean, if it basically...
We're talking about tea bags, like tea.
Because
you put it in hot water.
It's tea time.
You're telling the story.
Yeah. Exactly. Go on.
So I mean, it's. I was under the assumption that people on PSN and maybe the people playing shooter would have been the same way, but then you hear Rowan's description of how people generally are nice and like aren't douche crumpets.
That shocked me as well.
And it makes me like actually, because if you look at online, it looks like unbelievably fun. I just don't want to be playing with people I don't know because they're all a bunch of douche crumpets.
I'm stunned that because it's
very good. Yeah.
It's 1v1. It's super competitive. Those little 1v1 situations are really intense, and not just playing on the QGamer account at work, getting nice mails, but playing on my personal account at home as well.
Me too. With that.
People would send me mails and say, that was a good game. Thanks. And I'd be like, wow. That's a new experience.
It's almost like a strategy game that losing is actually part of the fun sometimes.
For sure.
Like
killing yourself.
Someone does performs a really good, clever move on you. You go,
that was really awesome. Yeah,
but it's actually kind of awesome.
I mean, sometimes you
learn from it.
You only get better by playing someone better than yourself.
It's definitely.
Well, one thing I will say though, and I've heard this discussed in various venues in the past and podcasts and whatnot, but the PlayStation 3 was not shipped with like a headset at all. The 360 was.
Yeah.
And while that's frustrating, I don't actually have a Bluetooth headset for my PlayStation 3 at home.
No, I don't.
Removing any sort of trash talking or that kind of BS that goes on in games like Halo is actually kind of a liberating experience, I think.
Right.
You don't have to deal with it. And occasionally you might come across a player who has a headset and you can hear.
Well, I had a Russian player.
Oh, that's right. The
Russian family.
It was like the Russian family were all like watching. You could hear them like going, Yeah, like net, or whatever they say. I don't know what they say. What's
neat was that
Russian?
neat?
Yes, best
Vodka.
Russian ever.
Russian for no, isn't it? I don't know.
Vodka.
Yeah, I don't know. What I don't know any Russian words whatsoever. What's yes in Russian?
Yes, da.
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 Da. So you hear them like going, talking like that, and you hear like kids.
Yeah.
Like it was probably someone like a brother, and he had his like 4 or 5 or 6 sisters with him or something. 'Cause they're all like screaming at what he was doing whenever I was. If I was winning, they'd all start screaming in Russian. So it was quite an amusing experience.
Like, that's cool. When that kind of thing happens, that's awesome.
Really cool. You're like you're seeing a window into another society, which is kind of cool.